President Donald Trump has said that a high-stakes deal is in the works to end the war. Reports suggest that Washington has sent a plan to Iran. While there is no official confirmation, points are circulating through leaks, back channels and diplomatic whispers. My colleague Shivan Channa gets us more details.
Now, Donald Trump says a high-stakes deal is in the works to end the ongoing war, which was started by the US itself. Reports say that Washington has sent a plan to Iran. While there is no official confirmation on this, points are circulating through leaks, back channels and diplomatic whispers. Let's get you all the details that are doing the rounds at this point. Now, according to the reported framework, at the core of this plan is zero nuclear capability for Iran, and that has been a constant call for the US. The US wants Iran to dismantle its existing nuclear capabilities. It also wants Iran to commit to never pursue nuclear weapons. But remember that Iran has always maintained that it neither has nor wants any kind of nuclear weapons. That's an official stance that Iran always maintains. Now, there are a lot of sticking points here. The bigger sticking point may be uranium enrichment, because US does not want Iran to do that either. The plan reportedly calls for no enrichment on Iranian territory. So far, Iran has refused to accept that. Even in earlier rounds, they always maintained that they are eligible to enrich uranium. They do not want a nuclear weapon, but you can't stop them from doing that. US wants Iran to dismantle its 3 big nuclear facilities. And these are names that came up even during the 12-day war last year: Natanz, Isfahan and Fordow. Now, apparently, the nuclear facilities here, US had claimed to completely obliterate these facilities in those strikes where US joined Israel last year in 2025. Back in June, Trump had claimed to have obliterated these sites. So there is an obvious question there. How do you dismantle, a year later, facilities that were already obliterated a year prior? Well, the alleged US proposal goes beyond nuclear. It says Iran's missile program. Now, the missile program had not been up for discussions in earlier talks. It was mostly targeted towards the nuclear program in Iran. But now the missile program is also part of this peace plan. It must be limited in both range and quantity. And a lot of that can also be shouldered on the fact that in the last 3 weeks plus, Iran has fired missiles across the West Asian region and even proving Israeli air defenses to be porous. US wants specific thresholds in Iran's missile program, and that is going to be determined at a later stage. Any future use would be restricted only to self-defense. But Iran already claims that its missile program is only for self-defense. But limiting the range and numbers may be a trickier compromise. Now, the proposal also mentions that UN nuclear watchdog IAEA must be granted full access, transparency and oversight inside Iran. It reportedly also calls for Iran to hand over some 450 kilograms of uranium that has already been enriched to 60% to the IAEA, the UN nuclear watchdog. The reported framework says that Iran must end support to its regional allies like Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis, which US calls Iranian proxies. But to put it on record, Iran has always maintained that they have no link with this so-called axis of resistance with Hamas, Hezbollah and the Houthis. Now, let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. That's the main point at this point during this ongoing war. The Strait of Hormuz, that is, the demand is clear from the US. It must remain open and it must function as a free maritime corridor. Iran has proposed a fee. Now, this proposal came up just a week prior from now. Just like the Suez Canal, Iran wants to charge a fee for all ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz as well. And this is for ships passing through this shipping land. Mind you, 20% of global oil trade passes through this region. Iran now wants to impose a fee. Now, what does Iran get in return? That's also mentioned in this plan. If reports are to be believed, the proposal calls for all sanctions against Iran to be lifted. And these sanctions that really target Iran's oil and petrochemical exports, financial and banking systems, and even their trading via international waters. These are strict sanctions that have really crippled Iran's economy since 2018. Sanctions are imposed on Iranian security officials as well, their organizations, such as the IRGC. The so-called snapback mechanism, which allows for the automatic reimposition of sanctions on Iran if it fails to comply, that would be removed as well. US would also assist Iran in advancing its civilian nuclear program for energy. It's all mentioned in the framework of the plan. But as we mentioned earlier, all these are just reports. Iran is yet to acknowledge any of these reports. Iran has not even acknowledged having talks with the US, while US says that they are proceeding well. Top Iranian officials still claim that the Trump change in tone from claims of regime change earlier in the beginning of the war to hopes of a dialogue, they are nothing but deception. It's just a trick to buy more time for the US. That's the stance that Iran still maintains because the war still rages on well into its fourth week.